Okay, well, hello everybody. So today, it's time for another update on the development of the Blamite game engine. Yes, sir. Um, yeah. So, about, I guess, 7 months ago, earlier this year, like right at the beginning of the year, I did, a few of these, mainly going over the old Guerilla. You know, this one. This fucking piece of garbage, by comparison. Oh, and it can't fucking even talk. It can't even read these tags because these are new. But this used to do something. This used to work. I showed it all. If you want to see this one, you can see it in. You can look on the earlier videos from the YouTube channel. You can see it there. And you can actually see what it. You can see it when it works because, well, as you can see, it doesn't want to work very often. But it's okay because now I could finally show you what the future holds for Guerilla. Now, it's not done yet. There's still some things that need to be done. We are not finished. There's gonna be there's still the UI still needs some work. There's still a couple features that need to be in, but for the most part, functionally, it's actually usable. And not only is it usable, but well, here, I'll just show you. So now you notice the command line that's eventually gonna not be a thing. It's just because development build, and that's just how we roll here. But here in a second, you'll notice that it's on the classic theme, so it looks exactly the same. Mostly. But, I'll say that's fine. I'll show you the good stuff later. So first of all, we have the Explorer bar, First, doesn't look that different. Except you'll notice I can actually open tags. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to... Wow, that voice crack though. You can open tags? Wow, tags. This is great, man. You can open the tags in the editor. And not only that, but but the font. You may notice. Well, I don't know if you go but you might notice it. I noticed this personally because my fucking attention to detail is like 35 out of 10. And people I will see things that other people just straight up don't. It seems like unless I point it out, I don't know. It's just really weird. But anyway, so if you looked back at the earlier video, you might notice that comparatively with this classic theme, these fonts are a lot more pixelated and kind of blocky. And that is on purpose. That is a feature of the classic theme because it's the idea behind the classic theme is that we wanted to look as close as possible to the original Guerilla. Like, here, let me... Where is it? Wait, what? What's this? Okay, that's something fucking broke at some point. That's cool. Jeez, so much garbage. Yeah, fun fact, I have 800 something programs installed on this copy of Windows 7. It's great. But anyway, that's besides the point. Here we are, Guerilla. What a fucking surprise, it doesn't have a tag open. Hey, come on, why am I doing this? Let me show you fucking... I closed the wrong... Okay. Well. That's cool. I closed the... Somehow, I clicked X. And somehow it closed the window behind it. That's all... Okay. I don't know how that's even possible, but... it's fine. Like here, bitmap. Okay, What? Man, there's some shit going on. I don't know what it is, but whatever. Here we are. Actually, let me open the scenario tag instead. Because it takes longer. Now, it'll still look a little blurry on here. It'll probably look even worse on YouTube, but if you're running this... the reason it's blurry is just because of DPI scaling. If you're running this at, you could probably still tell... If you look closely, you could probably tell a little bit how it's like sort of pixelated, but Windows 7 it like kind of it tries to like smoothen it. Like it like it's like I think the technical term is texture filtering. Like it like filters when it upscales, it tries to filter it out instead of just like it doesn't really integer scale. Whereas the nice thing about if we come over to Qt, we just would we'll get to that in a second. And then over here, now over here it is nice and crisp, even at high DPI scaling. And the reason that for, well, like I said, is because we're using Qt. This Qt. This thing is the fucking best thing ever. Holy fuck. At least as far as I've used. I mean, I don't know. For all I know, there might be something that's like 10 times better than this, but again, we'll come back to that. But the nice thing about it is that the reason I went with it first of all is because I wanted a UI framework that could do two things. One, I want something that I can use C++, because the entire fucking reason that this software, that Guerilla can work, is because of pointers. Pointers are a requirement for Guerilla to be to work reliably, and B, to work reliably in a manner that isn't horribly, massively, stupidly inefficient. Because see, like say here if I add a block, actually no, you know that's a bad example. Let's oh no, there's not a child block. Okay, anyway, say you have in the old Guerilla, if you wanted to say let's change that to like 25 or 256, yeah, sure, cool. 256, 77, whatever, doesn't matter. You want to change that? You want to change? I'm fucking pointing at the monitor with my hand. You wanted to change this, right? The way it would have to update the actual tag, because again, no pointers, is that you'd have to then, like, you'd edit this field. This field would check, hey, parent. Is a parent a block, or it would figure out, okay, my parent, like, it would have like an address, and it would be like, okay, let me navigate my way up, like, hey, block. This field at this address has changed its value to 256, and then block says, okay, hey tag. The block said, hey tag, this field at this address, like tag / block test / height, or an entry 0. It'll say, hey, this field is changed to 256, and then the tag would then update it, and then congratulations, you did it. With this, you know what we can fucking do? You just change it to 256, and it just updates it, and then that's it. Since it's a pointer, it updates the pointer. So it's automatically updated. It just, there's nothing to update. It just, this is the value. Whenever you change it, it sets the value. It's just, it took, there are 9 rewrites of the C# Guerilla codebase. 9. That's not a joke. There are actually 9. It took me 9 times to give up on C# and come to C++, and now the first C++ codebase that actually, well, technically it's the second if you count the empty project that had, like, nothing. I don't even think it had a window. If you, no, I don't count that because nothing happened. The first real Guerilla codebase in C++, boom, everything works, and 7 months later, here we fucking are. Like, but anyway, so that's enough of that. Let's talk about what you can do. So of course, like, you know, I can set that to like 4. All these fields work. If I make a field that's too high, you'll see it does that, just like how it used to. That's actually fairly recent. You'll see this here is in red again because there's a bit field 8. That is a 9th bit. That one can't be compiled, so it does that. So again, one of the parts that's not perfect is that these don't do anything yet, but this does. You can rename entries to like whatever you want, and that will reflect. So you do that. Data refs do work, like test. They don't work, however, you cannot view them as UTF-8 or as bytes, only as ASCII text. Again, that's the thing that's gonna end up happening later on. Probably relatively soon, because there's not much left to do, really. Unused codes have the same kind of red background as they used to. But in terms of new features, first of all, since we're here, is again somewhat recent. Comments now have different styles that they can use. You have normal, info, warning, and error. And the reason for that, the reason this was implemented is that let me open this. Is for this. Now you notice this is a binary. This tag has been compiled. And again, that's one of the other things that happens. We'll come to that. Is that there's actually two purposes for it. One is again for mainly this, so that there's a clear distinction. Like, hey, this is the thing. And actually, I think I actually had to make this comment to use that same kind of style as well. But anyway, now you can actually, the engine is configured where you can actually define like these comments in different plugin files. So you're gonna like whenever you're creating tag, if you as an engine developer are building the tag definitions and adding these comments, you can actually set it to be one of these styles if you choose. Don't know why you would. There's very little real reason for it, but you can. Again, and you never know what the fuck will happen. But there that is. And again, the another thing, like again, you'll notice here we have two different tags of the same name, except one of us was decompiled. That's the other thing too, is that tag compilation is a thing now. And I actually can't demonstrate it with this particular tag class. I can demonstrate it with another one in a bit though. That it does work. You can actually compile tags now, and assuming your plugins are actually compatible with the engine, which generally should be. Assuming all that's good, which if you're using you can literally go into the engine, run a console command to generate the plugins, use those, then you can edit and compile tags with that, and the engine will be able to load them. Which means you can actually use Guerilla as a tag editor for tag editing, and use those tags in the engine. I know that sounds like a very simple and like, oh wow, that's cool, man. That's really crazy. But that's for this fucking for Blamite's Guerilla codebase, that's kind of a big deal though. Because the C# build never got that far. You could save XML tags and like that was it. There was never tag compilation ever. That never happened. But now it is. And not only that, if I say, so let me change short test to like 47. And let me add a block entry. 7, 7. Let me check those two. And now if I click save. Now it is not fast. It is not fast. That took, hold on. I don't think that's saved right. Oh no, you know why? Because I just said it. Hold on. Let me find a different one. I don't think there's a plugin for this. Never mind, there is. Okay. Actually, here, no. A better example. Let me make just a new tag. Plugin test tag. Oh, sure. Sure, this works. Add a new entry. 66666. Actually, no, that's bad. 7. There we go. That's good. What in the fuck, man? There we go. Let's add another block test, or add 6. That's good enough. Sure, and that's it. And now if we do file save, now it's lagging. That's good. And I'll show you why here in a second. If I come over here, we refresh. It's not going to show up. Oh wait, I didn't. Hold on. I don't think I put it in the right folder. What the fuck is this? We're in the completely wrong location. Blamite. Yep. Debug. Let's actually put it in the tags folder again. Not done yet. That's video.test tag. Cool. Now if we refresh, now you notice we have two files now. You have a .decompiled, and you'll see exactly our tag, and then you'll see the compiled tag, which again is exactly the same. See where we're going here? And now let's come over here. let's take this tag. Let's bring it over into the game folder. Let's put in tags. Why is it? What is the frame rate? What the fuck is going on? Apparently the Blamite does not like recording. Wow, that's bad. Whatever. Tag load force video.test tag. Oh gosh, I do not know why the performance is so bad. It is not. But that's besides the point. We're fine. Now you look. I just loaded that tag. There's that. There it is. Wait, data ref. View. And there you go. As you can see. Hey, the frame rate got slightly better. Yeah, I'm gonna say Blamite does not like the fact that I'm recording. Of course, even the damn desktop kind of lags a little bit. Oh, now it's... Yeah, it's figuring itself out. But anyway, that's fine. Like I said, and as you can see, I just made a tag, just new tag, saved it, and it automatically compiled. That's another thing. And there's a reason for that I'll get into in a second. It's been 16 minutes. Holy crap, I need to try to be a little quicker. That's gonna be the toughest part of these videos, that there's so much I want to say. And time is fine. But anyway, but yeah, you just saw. We just, it's... I already closed it, of course. 7777. There it is. What in the fuck, man? What in the fuck, man? There's entry 6. And 5, 7. There's a 5, there's a 7. It's a perfect match. And now, let's do this. Let me add another entry. Let me view raw. Let me... Oh, what? I don't... Oh, that's right. You have to make the size first. Now if I save that to disk... did that... Yes. Cool. Now, go ahead and close that. Come over to tags. See, we just saved that. If we come over to bring back over to the editing kit, I'm going to keep both files. Video engine. Refresh. There it is. And now you see there's another block, and there it is. Perfect inter-compatibility. I know I'm probably sounding like a broke record, but this, I know it doesn't look like much, but I'm sure. But my hope is that to the kind of person who's gonna watch a video about this kind of but it's basically like a development log thing. This is kind of big. What this means now. What let me try to explain this for someone who maybe isn't as technically kind of, involved or inclined or whatever. Although I doubt they'd be watching. Is that basically what this means is that Guerilla can actually be used as a tag editor. When in the engine, you can whenever in the engine right now, I can go in, define a new tag structure, or make a new tag definition. I can then hook that into the engine, have it generate a plugin, throw that plugin into Guerilla, then create and edit and save tags, and it just works. And then the engine can use them. It automatically. And now, here's the other thing too: is that I'm actually not sure if this will work, so we're gonna find out together. What should happen here? If I click save, let's just see. If it doesn't work, then I'll tell you what it's supposed to do and what it's eventually gonna do. But let's see. Maybe it'll just work. It fucking worked! Oh, yes. And I can't open it. Maybe it didn't work. Hold on. Uh-oh. Maybe it didn't work. Hold on. Something's wrong. Did it not? Hold on. I'm gonna take a wild guess. What? That's... What? What happened? It actually... Okay, so it actually, like, worked, kind of. Or is that the problem? Does it not like that? Hold on. I think it doesn't like that. Yep, okay, didn't like that. Okay, so there's a minor bug. Okay. Okay. That's... Let me write that down somewhere. Bug in data refs. Make sure to remove null character at the end when saving to XML, or else it breaks rapid XML parsing. There we go. Okay. Now, it works enough. So basically what you saw happen is that I saved the binary tag and it automatically compiled, or it automatically decompiled it. So basically here's how tag editing is basically going to work in the release build of the engine. Basically the idea is that generally if you're using Blamite to make a game, you should never be editing you should never be working strictly with compiled tags, because here's the thing. If the way actually, you know what I can fucking do? Let me just show you what a binary tag looks like. Like here, like video engine test, open. Please let me select HXD. It's fucking not, you piece of shit. HXD. Good enough, okay. Here's that tag. This is what it looks like in the hex editor. And again, compare that to the same tag that's decompiled. You can't fucking read it, of course. That's another minor bug, but I'm not gonna fucking sit here and format it. But basically, you can tell this is basically an XML document. Every field, like if I take like this field here, I'll use this one. Every field, and when in an XML tag, every field has an ID, a unique identifier, and then the values here, and then the type. The idea behind this is that all your tags in a project, when you're like actually working with it, are in this XML format. The idea is that as tag layouts change and evolve over time, which they fucking absolutely are, and whether that be just especially during the engine development or in the case of like say longer term, like Blamite 2 or whatever the fuck, just over time, say we want to change the tag layouts. Sometimes it's a little bit, obviously, we try to maintain compatibility. And part of that is this. Whenever you're working with these XML-based tags, these are going to be a lot more resilient to layout changes, because basically all this has to do, you can actually move fields around with this, as long as it to an extent. Basically, as you saw, here, let me actually give you an example. Int 8 shit, or no, int 8i equals shit 57 int 8. And this will work with tag blocks too, just for throwing out there. Basically, the way it will work is that if the field is either been Basically, that's what it does. If it can't find a field, it'll put it down here. You can still see it, and that's like by default. The idea is that it'll actually I believe it's a setting. It'll actually by default it'll keep these fields in the XML tag file just in case. That way, if you have something important in these and it needs to be, you need to say because there's one case where hold on, whoa, hold on. Let me start that over. That was probably unintelligible. Okay, hold on. So the idea here is that with these fields, basically the ID, it can look up the ID, and as long as it's within the same scope, it can still find it. If it's been like say moved around, like say this field, say there was like 10 other fields and it was at the bottom, but then maybe we moved it to the top for some reason. You can do that. That's fine. Your tag will still be compatible. It'll just have to be recompiled. Or in the event that we add new fields, in between, again, same deal. It's all still there. Everything's still compatible as long as it has the same ID and type. Likewise, the case where fields like this would not be. There are two cases where the field is not able to be found. That's if either the ID was changed for some reason, in which case it's really not. It's really a new field at that point. Because generally, if it's the same field, it's gonna have the same ID still, like all the way through. The other case is if it's a field like this, and say we were to then if it was then added to be part of a tag block. In that case, again, same deal. Is that it wouldn't be able to find it at that point. That's what I mean earlier by like if it's in a different scope, quote unquote. Basically, it's like if it can't find it, it can't find it at the point that, and really, it's like if those kinds of changes are happening, odds are it's like other stuff has changed. So it's like, but the idea is that in that case, because usually like if something's going to be removed, odds are there'll be something similar, probably, maybe. And again, if in case it's just been moved inside of a block somewhere, the idea is that it's kept here, so you can actually just scroll down the bottom, copy and paste it where you need it, and then you could have it strip it out, or you can just have it stay in and it just won't be compiled. Because like the engine, like this is here, this will stay in the XML tag, but the engine will never see this. Whereas kind of what I was getting at too is that if you were just that's the idea behind the XML tags, is that those are gonna be more resilient through like major format changes. Those will rarely, if ever, truly break. These, however, if you add or remove a single field anywhere, it doesn't fucking matter. This whole file is gonna fucking load wrong. It is going to break hard and could probably crash the engine. That is why whenever you're working with the engine, you don't. That's why whenever you're working, like if you're building a project with Blamite, you should never be working with just these, because if a single format change happens, all of your tags in that class are broken and have to be completely rebuilt from scratch. Either that, or you have to start cracking open a hex editor and then hope you know what the hell you're doing, which, needs to say, it's not very user friendly. So yeah, but because like this compile tag, this is just for the engine to use. You gotta see, it's sort of, if you're familiar with the custom edition kind of tag format, it's loosely similar, but like not really. Like I think again, like I think like these two are like they're like what am I doing? I don't like to show you. Oh, if you look at the Halo tag, okay, well then fuck, you know what? Let's just look at a custom edition tag. Let's look at the assault rifle, the GBX model, and as you can see, sort of like you see right here, there's test tag. There's like there's the class, blam. That's about where the similarities end right there. Because again, like it's not the common thread with Blamite is that the resemblance to the Halo engine is, for the most part, superficial. Under the hood, like the code going on behind this is undoubtedly different code. Like the Halo engine doesn't work with XML tags. It just works with these. Which means that if man. It makes me wonder. It's like, I mean, surely they had something like, well, because I know there might be something else. Because I know, like, you can export these as like a text document in Guerilla. So maybe that's like part of it. But I don't know. I'm kind of getting sidetracked. But this isn't about Halo. This isn't about how customization works. This is about how Blamite works, and this is how Blamite works. And as you can see, Guerilla actually does work. Like, there's one little bug with data refs, but again, like I said, still working on it. But like, yeah, most fields exist. You can see like tag refs; these also do work. I'm using classic tag refs, so it's actually a little less functional. But I can come over to settings. This is another thing that's redesigned. This actually got a couple redesigns. Originally there was one that was more hard coded than this. It was more in line with the original settings dialog in the old Guerilla, sort of. But I've opted for something that instead is more dynamic, at the cost of what's it called? Sorry, my freaking brain just had to like stop for a minute. But no, this is basically more dynamic. Like the actual list here is this is all built dynamically. This isn't all hard coded. This is directly representative of configuration files. Like this is all these like root nodes. These are config files, and all of these are different sections. And then you can see here, like if you click a file, it shows all the settings, and then but you can also then go down to specific sections that will show that. It's less varied, I guess. Like it's not. There's less control over the UI. One thing I'm a little sad about is that you can't have like that nice workspace preview thing. But I think this is kind of better, ultimately, for what this is. And plus, this actual settings I just minimized OBS by doing that. Oh shit. But the nice thing about this is that this actual dialogue can be used across all the editing programs. It'll be the same dialogue. And then you can see if I actually click settings, I'm going to show this. And these are all pulled, again, dynamically from strings. So like in the actual, there's like XML documents that store string tables now. That's what that's used in both the engine and now the tools as well. And the way that works is yeah, like so like it'll say like, oh, Guerilla config. Here, what am I doing? Why don't I just show you? Why don't I just show you? Blamite. This may take a moment. 32 minutes in. 33 minutes in. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's another long one. Sorry, guys. I need to work on that, but I don't know. Maybe the person who's gonna sit here and watch this kind of stuff is more. Because these really are less like. In a way, these are more kind of developer focused. Here we are. Config strings. This is a new table. All the config stuff. So they see config. Here's the format. Config config file. The file name without .cfg name. That's what it's used for that Guerilla main config. And if we come back over here, see that the section names and section appearance name, and then there's the different config Guerilla, and then here's the actual setting ID name, and then there's also info, and then the info text is what it uses for this description, and that's how that works. For the most part, things are handled. Oh, here I can show you how what's it called? The actual menu, the drop downs are handled. I think I scrolled past it. Oh, here it is. So like here, the output window dock position. Let me find that. Like you see, we got bottom, left, right, top. Now, of course, if it's dynamic, how do we do that? Well, the way it does it is actually, is it still using strings? Basically, you see the enum options are here. And the way it does it is that you have multiple of these. Like basically, you have the display name and the actual value that it writes to the config file associated with it, separated by the pipe, and then that's an option, separated by commas, and then that's how you do that. The exception to that is, where is it? Oh yes, these two specific ones. When it says Keystone theme list and Keystone theme variant list, this is basically, this tells it that these are specific cases that say, hey, don't actually try to parse this as a list of options. This just says, hey, use your list of themes and then use the list of like theme variants. So obviously you can't really like hard code that, or you can't really like you can't just add the list of themes here, because like the list of themes is dependent on like what themes A we've included, and B any themes that the user has installed. And I guess now, since I started to talk about themes, this is a great time to show you this. And this, come on. Well, it's taking a minute. It normally takes a lot less time than this, probably because I'm recording. Oof. Wow. What the fuck? There it is. This here is the fucking best part about Qt. This. At least this is my favorite part. Is that now I can make the editing kit, I can make it look old, and I can make it look new. And again, this isn't like done yet. Like, there's a few things I'm gonna be tweaking, like these blocks. Like, there's like this weird empty space. That's just that's gross. I need to get rid of that. Should be easy enough to fix. Comments, as you see, have kind of a nice drop shadow. That was a kind of really annoying way to do that, because again, we'll get to that. I'll show you more details about how that works in a minute. These don't quite display as well as I would like, but it works like enough, and it's like okay. But as you can see, like it's overall. Oh yeah, and here's these. Here's how those comments display. And it's actually pretty cool. And then here you can actually. That's the wrong one. Oh damn it! There we go. You kind of see, yeah. That's how it kind of got that going. And like that. That's one of my like favorite parts about Qt, is that you can just do that. The fact that just this is like the fact that you have themes. I can actually make it look modern. And also here's this engine about dialogue. I think I like this banner. Although I actually need to update it, because the logo, this is actually the old logo. We recently updated, or I say we. I keep saying we. Like I keep saying we as though fucking anybody else does anything except for fucking me. There's like there used to be developers on the team. Since the last video, that's no longer the case. I finally got tired of having a team of developers who just aren't around, and I was just like, all right, you know what, guys? Because I mean, I don't know. And sometimes I blame them, but at the same time I don't, because like I think part of why they didn't do anything is because I never gave them anything to do. But at the same time, some of them they've been on the team for like, in some cases, over a year, and just I've fucking heard nothing. And like I think like the one I did, let's see. We had Vertigo. He did a little bit of networking code that I need to like go through and still document and figure out how it works. There's like There's such a small amount of code, I'm not even sure if it's even worth trying to use. But we'll see. I'll have to go back and look. But like, there's that. There was Billy. I don't think he made a single commit. We had J-Bobs, who, well, he's actually the guy working. I believe he's one of the main people behind behind Coral, a Halo fan game. Well, again, there's a Halo fan game. I don't know why I read the subtitle. It's called Coral. It's a Halo fan project. And that's like seems to be his main thing. I talked to him in voice on Discord a couple times, but particularly when he first kind of came around, and it seemed like really promising. But like, we did that, and then like that was it. Like we talked on Discord a bit, and then like I fucking basically never saw him again. And I tried like multiple times for like a couple months, like, yo, like, can you like contact me? Can we talk? And I like just got fucking radio silence, and I was like, screw it, I give up. And so now I am the only developer, and I've basically, in fact, realistically, I've been the only developer for the whole fucking time, really. That's you know. But that's also part of why I'm actually making these videos in the first place, is because I think that my hope is that as the engine is developed and I can show that, hey, there's something here. I'm not just a guy throwing code together and copy and pasting off a Stack Overflow and making something that like barely holds itself together. My hope is that I can kind of slowly over time, you know, reach an audience and, you know, kind of grow the team. If you happen to be a developer and the project interests you, if you know C++, please apply on the website. If you go to lastsite.com, you just make an account. Emails fucking may or may not. Emails, it might work. You might get your confirmation email. You might not. If it doesn't, just message me on the Discord. There should be links to that as well. Around. Just join that. That's like the best way to get a hold of me is on Discord. I will see. Like, I'm always on that. So. But otherwise, just there's like literally join the team link and just literally fill out that, because we are always looking for new developers. Always, because, you know, at the end of the day, if I'm the only one doing this for like the next 10 years, we're not gonna get anywhere. Like, well, no, that's not true. If we're gonna get somewhere, like, it's just, I don't think it's gonna. I would like Blamite to actually be a decent engine, just on its own right. Like, I want it to be a decent engine first that just, you know, happens to, you know, look and kind of feel like the Halo engine a bit, but it's still like, you know, an engine that if you're just a guy who wants to make a game, it's like, hey, this is actually something we should consider as a legitimate option for our engine. You know, that's kind of the goal. It's just a matter of if we can actually do that. But anyway, I'm getting way fucking sidetracked. There's a few more things to show here. As you saw earlier, we have the output window. Basically, console output, you can kind of see that. You can actually filter. So you can show, this is going to be removed at some point, because this used to be like broken up into different categories. You can still see the remnants of this if I turn off. Oh yeah, there we go. Like, say, like you kind of see, because the way basically the logging used to work is that every library had its own logger. Like the Guerilla library had a library, and we'll get to that in a second. All these used to have their own loggers. And so this output window would then have to fetch all of it, and which I decided it doesn't make any sense. It makes very little sense, because there's going to be so much overlap between all of these anyway. Like, for instance, Foundry, which is going to be the unified editing environment. It's going to be like, the way everything is set up is that, like, a lot of this, like, all this UI stuff is currently being designed in such a way where it's a lot of code is actually going to be shared. Like, Foundry is going to use Gorilla's a good chunk of Gorilla's code. Like anything for like tag editing and compiling and whatnot, that's all coming from Guerilla. It's not gonna re-implement its own code. It's just the UI. It might be presented slightly differently, maybe. And it's like you'll have like it's gonna be more full feature. Like the way everything's gonna be designed is that you could theoretically have it like there'd be very little technical reason why you couldn't use Guerilla or Sapien as Foundry basically. But like again, like you really you won't be able to do that, of course, in the retail release. But there's gonna be basically the way everything's gonna be set up is that theoretically, if just for shits and giggles you wanted to, it would be technically possible. There'd be no it'd be the kind of thing where if you were to enable all the different tool windows over in here, they would all work and everything would be fine. And it would just mostly probably work. But anyway, that's the different details. But yeah, so you have the output window. Of course, another thing I like about Qt is that you can just dock shit and it just works. I didn't have to do anything to make this work. You can just dock things. And you can just do that. It automatically puts it in tabs. It looks a little weird with the way I've got it set up, but that's because there's no styling, but we'll get to that later. It's fine. You can close shit and it's super cool. Awesome and stuff. We also have the style editor. This is not the most user-friendly thing, but it works enough. Basically, the way it works is that you can click load current style sheet, and whatever theme you have applied, it'll pull it in as a style sheet. And then I would like to get some syntax highlighting really on here. But the one of my favorite things about Qt again is not only can you style it, the way you style it is basically with CSS effectively. It's not exactly the same, but it's for the most part, the syntax is the same, and generally it's if you know how to use CSS, you can do things with this and you can be alright. It's not the newest version, I think it's based more of CSS 2 or something. It's based off an earlier version of CSS. So it doesn't have all the fanciest filters. It's very kind of just a very basic, you can have background colors, you can have border radius, borders, stuff like that. Border image as well. That's how the comments work, by the way, is that there's no box shadow. So you have to do for a box shadow, you have to basically make a texture and then apply that around it using a border image, which works fine. There's this actually, you'll say this says Qt style editor. Originally this style editor used to be just baked into this, but I eventually pulled it out into its own tool because it's just better that way. And also because you could literally, before this is pulled into that, you could actually just close that and you could never get it back without restarting the program, so it's just kind of eh. But then I've kept this around just as, it's because it's a good, it's kind of convenient for just being able to quickly preview all of the controls and see what they look like. Those actually don't, but those don't have any styles. That's fine. Nothing too. We can come over here. Oh, here's the other thing. These icons, now you'll notice these icons look pretty old. That's because by default, all the icons are based around a classic theme. The Midnight theme will, of course, have its own custom, modern icons, of course. We can, there's no, I need to, actually make that, say, have it more, I need to make it where you can't select that, but basically you can, and not all of these are implemented, but, say rename, I can't do that. But again, it's all this is going to become, you could quickly compile or decompile. You can do, view tag info, and then you can kind of see the revisions. Let me find a tag that has revisions. I think this one, right? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is how the revisions look. This dialogue is actually probably the closest to the old Guerilla. It's almost it's basically the exact fucking same, to be honest. If I come over here, Guerilla.net, please open something. Can I get a single? Alright, can I? Oh jeez, it can't even load the plugins. Oh, fuck. Oh, you know why? Because it can't read the damn settings. Well. That's okay. I think I know a way we can open it. 32-bit is so fucking old that it's still compatible. Mostly. And then... never mind, I got to do that, and then I can... yeah, you can see, like, it's basically, like, it's almost... pretty much the same, except it just looks better over here. Just across the board. Like, of course, these are all, like, the same kind of deal, like, plugin details. Same shit. The revisions, again, same basic idea, except the scroll bar is always visible. What I can do real quick though is let me show you how it looks on. It actually looks a little closer to the old Guerilla on classic theme. Appearance. That's the wrong fucking classic theme. That's the classic theme with none of the actual custom styling. And it's gonna take a week and a half to load for no damn reason. My favorite. This is the one we actually want to use. It's been 50 fucking minutes. 51 minutes. Fuck. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. Both because A, I want this to be reasonably timed, and I also want to go to sleep. There we go. Yeah, the font. So if we, come back over here, information. You see kind of the revisions. I made kind of a blend of both this kind of original appearance, but I also tried to make it look more like I actually made it sort of in line with the way comments look. And I actually was gonna hard code. I actually was just gonna make this text the same color as this, but then I realized you can actually use the palette color for this. So actually now, if you like, this is actually the same color as, where is it? Let me actually open a tag here. Like, oh goodness. Okay, hold on. Close that. Make that more reasonable. See, this is that kind of color, and if I go to tag details here, you can kind of see that's the same color. And the entire all the custom styles for this are designed to use the palette colors, because by doing that, if you're on Windows 7, which Blamite is going to support Windows 7 for as long as I'm fucking still using it, basically, if you actually go and use the classic theme, then Guerilla will still respect those colors. So like, if I were to, I'm not gonna demonstrate it because it's gonna take too long and I just don't feel like it. But I'll probably show it later at some point. If you're using a classic theme, it'll actually, Guerilla will honor like the color scheme. And there might I know you can technically sort of get a classic theme on Windows like 10 and whatnot. It's just kind of difficult. But again, same deal there. You would have all the same stuff. But man, what a difference that. Oh yeah, this never worked. And guess what? That's one of the things that still doesn't quite work. It's just kind of here. It works enough where it actually shows you this, but you can't actually add filters yet. But that's coming soon, I promise. Oh yeah, and also you can search. Like, yes. Now there's two buttons. There's search and real-time search. This is a checkbox. The problem is that whenever real-time search is still very slow. But again, comes down to optimization, like bitmap. Yeah, you see how long that took. So really, right now the best way to do it is to just like, and you can also press enter as well, and it'll actually do it like you could say like yes, and then it'll filter by yes. And you see here, there's nothing, so it just doesn't show anything. And you of course just do that, clear it out. That's new. Their filters will still be there. Technically, you could argue that the filters are kind of redundant whenever you have an actual just straight up search box, but you know. Classic view does still work, as you can see. Works exactly like you'd expect. filters by tag class. Don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but you know, maybe if you're maybe you're more familiar with things like assembly and like the modding tools where this is just how everything's presented. I don't know what. So that's something that's supposed to this is supposed to say decompiled, but it doesn't. But oh, that reminds me. One thing I should note is that if you're using, like, because you'll notice that, like, oh, here it shows, like, it shows two of each tag, like, both the compiled and the decompiled. Like, I don't know if you could tell, the compiled tags are in blue, and they have this kind of, like, icon that has, like, binary on it. However, by default, it actually doesn't do that. By default, if you have this set to false, let me just click apply. And then if I refresh, you'll see that A, the compiled tags go on, and B, it doesn't say decompiled anymore because again, there's no real reason. The idea is that, like, by default, it presents it as you'd expect, and then, like, the compiled tags are just kind of in the background. And and if say you're using Foundry for this, what would happen is that you would save the tag, and then after it compiled it, it would then like actually tell the engine to, well, assuming it compiled correctly, it would tend to instruct the engine to reload the tag, which basically you know what you fucking do, really. I mean, there's like almost like you can only, I mean, you watched me like just copy and paste it and just do tag load force. It's like you can just do that, and tag load force also does, by the way, does include tag refs, and tag refs do work, by the way. That's the other thing. That's one of the things that the old version of that the C# Guerilla never had was tag refs, but this one just straight up does. You can even open them like that, and it just works. And it's like crazy. To me, it's crazy. It's just like wild. And it's like, yeah. And yes, I know it's. I understand. Yes, I know it's kind of funny. It's a string reference, and it's only a bit in that. This. Steve, don't worry about it. Half these tag classes don't make any damn sense yet, but they will eventually. I don't actually know if there's much else to show. Yeah, there really isn't, like... That's... Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's basically, Guerilla. The only other... Well, the other thing I can show you is, like, I guess if we come in... Well, another thing, too, is that, if we come to midnight... Oh, fuck, it's gonna take an hour. With themes, well, first of all, there's a separate folder in your app data that you can actually... Come on. I'm waiting on this thing to load. And, there's, actually, you could technically already view this documentation, I believe, under hub.elastic.com/guides/latest. Basically, there, all the theme stuff is actually documented. And the idea is that whenever, you know, once there's a release of some sort, that users could use the style editor and whatnot and actually create their own themes for the editing kit. And again, since all of the UI for all the editing tools is shared, the editing, basically, like the themes, it's all shared. And see if you open data folder, and this is actually, like, it's just in your, like, app data folder. You can kind of see what's going on here. This is actually where, this is actually kind of a sort of a significant change. It's how configuration used to be sorted. Originally, it just read the config straight from the application folder. What it does now instead is that there will be a file in the actual, in your app data folder, and it'll only write settings that are modified. The idea being that, you know, if, like, say, if we change the defaults later, the only settings that really need to be left as is are settings that you've actually configured and whatnot. So, like, it's just generally better, just anyway. Ever common that was going to be a thing. The idea is that any common settings that are used across the kit were going to be used, but that was later. I kind of decided against that in favor of instead having basically these tool configs. And the idea here is that basically like the Explorer bar has its own configuration file. And this is because again, the Explorer bar, you'll be able to, like, if you're in Foundry, you'll be able to use the Explorer bar. Same with the output window, like that's going to be across the board. Although the Foundry will also have a more conventional content like Explorer that's more in line with Unreal, Unity, stuff like that. It's just that again, if the Explorer bar is already going to exist, might as well make it where it'll work in Foundry too. Just because there's some maybe someone using Foundry wants to use Explorer bar. Why not? And that's like I was saying earlier. Like the idea is that everything's being designed where you could use any of the like Foundry stuff, like the older tools. But really, the more accurate use case is that these different kind of tools, like the Explorer bar, the output window, style editor, the whatever it is, pretty much like the real idea is that all of these kind of older utilities will be usable within a Foundry. Because the idea is that again, Foundry is supposed to be like this big unified editing environment. It's like it's the Unreal or Unity editor of Blamite, where it's more in line with Visual Studio, where it's just one program that does all the things, everything you could ever want. Like you don't need to if you're using Foundry, you don't have to use Tool, you don't have to use Guerilla, you don't have to open Sapien, you just use Foundry. But again, they're all going to share codes, and really Foundries in many ways, although not entirely, most of the functionality of Foundry will still of course exist in the older tools first. Actually, to an extent, there will be features that only work in Foundry. That will be a thing. That will absolutely be a thing, because that's just kind of part of it. Like Foundry is designed. The idea behind Foundry is also to be much more user-friendly than using 3 different tools. Although the old tools will be generally a little more user-friendly wherever possible. But again, the idea behind Foundry is that the end goal is to have Foundry be kind of to be intuitive. To someone who's, maybe either they're not familiar with Blamite, or maybe they're not even that familiar with game engines. Well, okay, maybe not that part, but it should be about as easy to use, or at least close to being as easy to use as Unity or Unreal. You can kind of just pick it up and you can kind of figure out what's going on. That's the idea behind Foundry. But anyway, what I was getting to here is that the projects, and again, you'll see Infinity over here. That's where this is, and that's where that icon is. And this is actually a project file. The tags folder doesn't have one of these, but there's the other thing is that really your project's gonna have these different project files, which again, .blam, yes sir, blam, word of the day. The other thing too is that you can actually put and then again, if you want to have your own editor themes, you could drop those here, and it'll just load them in the list. There's none in here, but if you had any, that's where they could go. Last thing I'll show is these theme variants, because basically Midnight is probably gonna be the default theme for all the tools, but each theme will have a different default accent color. Like this blue, I don't know what the fuck I use that. To be honest, I don't know if anything will use that. I might make Tool use that, just because Tool has like nothing else to fucking use. But say gold, I'm sure it'll take a fucking week and a half. Damn it. Oh, why is it so slow? All I'm doing is recording video. Goodness sakes. But basically, the idea is that Sapien, it'll all use the Midnight theme, but the accent color will be different depending on the theme. So Guerilla will have a red one, which I'll show in a second. Sapien will default to kind of a gold, yellow, and then Foundry will be the Blamite magenta color. Because, as we all know, pink is the manliest color in the world. It is the most epic of gamer colors. Well, that's not why. Oh, obviously, that's not why it's pink, but pink because the needles, the needler. But yeah, so you see, this is kind of more or less kind of what Sapien look like. These fucking selected things are supposed to be damn colored. I don't know why they're not. That's weird. I guess that's fine. Yeah, okay, that works for some reason. It's kind of like the menu bar, all this kind of does it. And like this is if you're using Sapien, this is kind of how the theme would be set up. Is that it'd be kind of like that. Again, not perfect. Say I won't. Let me reiterate. Word of the day. Not the other word of the day is that not. This is work in progress. And of course, maroon. Which is the precise same shade of red as in the Guerilla icon. Now we just wait fucking 20 minutes for it to apply the theme. Wow, I do not understand why it's taking I mean it takes a bit when I'm not recording, but it takes like 10 seconds max. Max. But yet apparently me recording makes it take like 30 or 40. Like jeez, man. Wow. But debug build, not optimized. What do you expect? I'm of the mindset, and I knew a guy who acted like this was the most ridiculous thing. This is most like the stupidest thing in the world. What I've always heard is that in order to make good code, optimize later. When you're first building the software, just make it work. You can go back and make it fast later. Just initially make it work. And I think that's my mentality, that's my approach. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I've heard how premature optimization is just hell. It's just been a whole nightmare and for a lot of it's just not usually good. Yeah, there's the maroon theme, here's the magenta theme. I'll show you that, and then that'll probably be when we wrap this up, and then I start uploading this video. And yeah. But yeah, there's it's people the people and this dude that's it's the most stupid thing. It's inefficient. Why would you write it twice? It's because whenever you're first building the software, if you try to prematurely optimize it, you run the risk of just writing unmaintainable code. As I said, it's the other thing. Whenever I'm writing Blamite's code, part of what my mindset is, wherever possible, I want this code to be as readable and legible. I want this to be the kind of code where you can read it and it just makes sense. I name my variable name. I try to name things. I name things relatively verbose. Pretty much across the board. Yeah, here's the magenta theme, by the way. It actually looks pretty fucking nice, to be honest. A lot nicer than it has any right to. I mean, if you're using Foundry, this is more or less what it would look like. And again, there's nothing I want to get done. I want to have done is I want to have this title bar be styled, and I also want to have these MDI windows be styled as well, because this is, I mean, it's not so bad in the classic theme, but in the midnight theme, it really is jarring to have the whole dark theme, and then the title bar. This title bar and window border is comparatively really bright for no fucking reason. It's really weird. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it just seems it's generally whenever you're, I name things pretty verbose. I don't like heavily abbreviated names and shit. And maybe it's sometimes it's almost too verbose sometimes, but for me it's just I want the code to be the kind of thing where someone who has no idea what they're doing can find the way around. That's kind of my mentality with coding, and it's again, builds my approach has always been just make it run first, and then once you've got it working, doing what you want it to do, then you can focus on making it fast. But at first, you should just make it do what you want to do, and then make it fast. But I've been rambling long enough. I think it's about time. That's an old tag that doesn't work anymore. You can tell because it says old tags, so you can fucking barely not even read it because it's so dark blue. That's again theme. Theme is not yet complete. But yeah, it's been an hour and 8 minutes. I'm gonna start uploading this. Yeah, if the Blamite game engine project interests you, head to lasite.com. You can create an account, apply to the team. We are always looking for anybody who's interested to help out. Any help is good. Again, the only real my prerequisites are that A, you're competent in C++, and that you can either you have some kind of portfolio of some sort that demonstrates you know what you're doing, or that you can, when working with the engine, you can, or in some capacity, you just. I'm less concerned. I don't need I don't need or expect a big a massive portfolio. Like, oh yeah, I'm an industry veteran who's been doing this for 20 years. Like, obviously that's fucking. I don't even have that. I'd be stupid. It's just that basically what I need is I need some demonstrable something that demonstrates to me that you are at least competent in C++ and that you can actually develop the engine, because in the past C# would have been good enough, but at this point, with the fact that 2 tools that we use are in C# and that's it, and sooner those are going to actually get deprecated and replaced with C++ variants at some point probably anyway. They're really you kind of need, in order to work with Blamite, you need to know C++. There's not really much you're going to be able to do in C# at present, and probably not ever. Outside of actual game scripting maybe, but even then scripting is a whole other animal that's probably not going to use C# anyway. It's going to use Blam script, or at least some weird variant of it. But anyway, just as you can, if you're competent in C++ and you can demonstrate it, and if you can at least, if nothing, at fucking bare minimum, do something do something for the project and communicate. That's the biggest issue I've had with other people who join the development team, is that they sign up, they join, I make them part of the team, and then they fucking disappear and I never hear from them again. I need, just communication. I don't expect you to commit 40 hours a week. I don't expect you to commit even. I don't even necessarily ask. I don't ask that you. I can't ask that you do it because it's a volunteer thing. This isn't a job. There's no. We're not really a company. It's called Elastic Studios, but it's more of a. Elastic is more of a, hey, we're a bunch of people, we're a bunch of people making a project, basically. It's more of a project. It's not really a business. The hope is that at some point we can do that, and my hope is that eventually I would like to be able to, at some point later on, have either money from the game engine, or money from a game, or whatever, or both, or something else. My hope is that eventually we can get to the point where I can actually hire people on. But right now it's just kind of it's more, think of it more in the vein of a Halo fan project. It's just that this project isn't a game, it's a game engine. But yeah, if the project interests you and if you can demonstrate that you know C++, by all means, apply. We need all the help we can get. If for some reason it doesn't work, you can reach me on Discord. What's it called? Just in case, I don't know what channel I'm on. I gotta make sure I'm not in a staff channel or something. I'm not. If you need to, if you want to join the Elastic Discord, I'll have a link in the description. How about that? I'll have a link in the description if you need to join. If something goes wrong and you can't. And for some reason something doesn't work, you can't, either the website's down with the 522, that's the thing that just sometimes happens because of my router, and it's running out of my house, it's just a whole fucking mess. If the website's down, you can't apply that way, or if the email confirmation doesn't send, if something goes wrong, you can't, if you're interested in joining the team and you just can't, and something doesn't work, there'll be a link to the Discord in the description. Join that, message me there. Realistically, again, if you're on the team, you'll be primarily communicating through Discord anyway. That's where everything kind of happens in terms of communication. So it's kind of a prerequisite anyway. But yeah, so something if you're interested in joining, or even if you're maybe not a developer and you just want to keep tabs on the project, same deal. Join the Discord. It's open to the public. I'll often, as I'm developing it, there's actually a public channel called just called Blamite, where I kind of as I'm working on it, I'll kind of like post screenshots and whatnot, and kind of explain it, talk about things I'm doing, pretty much to anybody who wants to listen. That's all a public channel. If you're interested in the project, and maybe if you can't help and you just are interested in following it, you can do that. And again, and also if you're interested in the project and you can't contribute, but you want to help it see it grow, spread the word. If you know someone or some place that might where there might be people who might be interested in this kind of a thing, let them know about it. Just spread the word. Like, the biggest problem right now is that nobody fucking knows we exist. I'm reasonably confident that the project, at least as an idea, is cool enough to where if people knew about it, we'd have, a reasonably sized development team. We could probably have the whole ass engine going in a few years. And maybe even have started on a game by then. But it's just a matter of, right now, this is one man. Well, I'm a one-man army, and I'd like to try to change that. So, but I've been rambling long enough. Links for everything in the description. I will catch you all later.